Hello there, today is Monday, April 29th, 2019. Our other stories today will feature 3 headlines. Our first headline will be about Mayor de Blasio getting a hidden report about him being in a car crash. Our second report will be about the L train. How did it do last weekend during the so-called madness that was hyped? And third, we will talk about the Long Island Railroad's work with the third track at Carl Place. But our lead story is, of course, our 2-week update about the construction zone on Francis Lewis Boulevard by 38th Avenue in Auburndale. And you got more of a fail right here. Look. Yep, more graffiti. Again, where's 111? Where are they when you need them? How come 105 and 107 are cleaning up graffiti, and yet the 111's not doing anything about it? So we are almost at the construction zone, so I will continue to keep the camera rolling because I have my portable charger out. Thank goodness I have this equipment. Yeah, see more of it. Yeah, I'm telling you, this neighborhood's really going downhill. It really is. We're becoming like Hicksville these days. Sorry to admit that. This is literally Hicksville in Queens. And I hate to say it, I really do. It's awful. Really is. And the other issue is, why isn't there a stoplight here? I don't feel safe crossing the street, so I gotta make sure that the light stays red up there so I can at least make sure that I don't get hit by a car. See, these cars are coming right now, and this is not a safe area. This should really be a pedestrian-friendly area because Starbucks just opened right down the street. And you have the preschool right here. I mean, look at this. The preschool's right here. How is this safe? It really should put... Again, Patty Trattenberg just doesn't care. And I didn't look at the mailbox, but I'll have to take a look at it on the way back when my dad picks me up. So here we are with the construction update on 38th Avenue. So here we go. I didn't see that 2 weeks ago. That's very odd. What's this? And this is all torn up. That's all torn up. So we'll continue on down here. They still have this here, like 2 weeks ago, but looks like the sidewalk has been repaved. So that's good. They repaved the sidewalk. And take a look at this. This house is still for sale. Still for sale. Yeah, it's probably going to be a flop house. Probably illegal conversion. They'll probably turn it into a multi-family, which I'll mention this as we cross the street. That tomorrow at Utopia Jewish Center on Utopia Parkway, there's going to be the manual meeting of the Fresh Meadows Homeowners Association. And I think maybe non-Fresh Meadows residents should come to this too, because we got a big problem with these houses becoming multi-family units when they're not supposed to be. And I think also, and I'll confirm with this as well, but I think they're going to unveil when the fireworks will be at Cunningham Park this year. So I'll have a video about that when the information is available, because it normally takes place right before the end of June, if you want to come out to Cunningham Park and see the fireworks. But anyhow, we still got this here, and I don't know when they're going to clear this stuff up, but over here by 201st Street, the other part of it, there's no other construction. But we have cherry blossoms that are now starting to turn green. That's a bit of a disappointment, but yeah. And in this pole, I never realized this pole was ever covered by green. That's a little hilarious. Thank goodness in Fresh Meadows we don't have that. I'm sure somewhere in Fresh Meadows, maybe. I doubt it. But no other construction. There are more cherry blossoms down there. We'll zoom in. We'll get the autofocus. Do apologize. There we go. Yeah, look at that. Even the cherry blossoms are coming to Queens. It's a very odd year for, I don't know. I never realized it in the past, but the cherry blossoms are picking up around here. I don't know if I'll see any more on my way to Dollar Tree, but yeah, that's going to wrap up this part of the video. So we'll go back to my computer screen in just a moment, and we will talk about, once again, Mayor de Blasio getting under the books when it comes to being reported by the police in a car crash. Then we'll talk about, right, the L train, how did it do? And then we will talk about the Long Island Railroad third track project at Carl Place. So stay tuned for more. Our second story will be about the L train shutdown, as the Elmageddon started this past weekend. Here is how New York One covered the story.
The dreaded Elpocalypse has arrived, and the MTA was able to stave off Armageddon on the rails. That's because the MTA flooded stations with staff to keep commuters moving and cut down on massive crowds. The service cutbacks mean trains between Manhattan and Brooklyn run every 20 minutes, starting around 10 p.m. weeknights and all weekend, to allow crews to repair the line's East River Tunnel. This is the new reality on the L line for nights and weekends over the next 15 months.
This morning we had a conference call where we reviewed how things have gone so far, so we made some tweaks to make sure that today's plan went even better.
The MTA was prepared, but it was not all smooth. Countdown clocks were showing incorrect arrival times. Riders at Lorimer Street Station in Williamsburg were held up for 10 minutes, waiting for a work train to pass. And some riders were confused about which trains were going into Manhattan and which trains were turning around and heading down the line in Brooklyn. MTA staff and NYPD officers on the streets were directing passengers to other train lines and buses. For those who needed the L line, commuters were not pleased with the long waits and crowds.
The trains are crowded and there's no room to stand or even sit, and they're running every 20 minutes, so if you miss it, you have to wait longer, then you have to stand, sit, and then you can't even get on the train, so you have to wait another 20 minutes for the next train to come.
I think it's crazy that you have to queue up to get into the station to get on the train. And we have no idea like how long we have to queue for, so it's a little messy.
Other riders appreciated how the MTA kept the service organized.
On a scale to 10, probably an 8.5. Thought it was going to be probably a 2 out of 10.
It's good to see a lot of representatives for questions and to help you what's going on.
The MTA believes commuters over the next 15 months will figure out what works best for them, sticking with the L line or trying another subway line. At Union Square, Dan Rivoli, New York One.
So, pretty much from what you saw in that video, it wasn't really as bad as what people were anticipating, but it was still chaotic. You still had your work train that had to pass through in the East River Tunnel that links up Manhattan and Brooklyn, and, you know, I understand that people are frustrated that you have to deal with the overcrowded trains, but in a way, it's reality now. You have to get this work done. There's no exceptions. Because what if you have another disaster like Sandy? Okay? What if the current tunnel right now that is in place can't handle another storm? And let's hope we don't have another storm like Sandy ever again. What I'm trying to say is that you need something that will last long term in general. Okay, maybe it won't be another storm like Sandy was. Maybe it won't be. Or maybe there isn't a so-called boom in Williamsburg. But the infrastructure has to keep up. There is a boom. I love being practical. I've been doing that for a while on this channel. There is so much demand right now for real estate and business to grow in Williamsburg. You don't have this L train project done by July of 2020, there would be complete chaos for the next, I would say, if you get lucky, maybe another 5 to 10 years this tunnel would hold up. And I wouldn't want to see that discussion or catastrophe happen. And, you said one person said, oh, 8.5. I thought it would be bad. It wasn't that bad, but it could be a whole lot worse. And I'll say this right now. And I'll mention this to anybody on 14th Street. Just walk. Because I will mention that I saw on Twitter over the weekend that it took 45 minutes just to get from Union Square all the way out to 11th Street on the west side. Shouldn't take that long. Well, trust me, just walk. It's easier than just being stuck on an overcrowded bus and then regretting it. And I don't regret, and I did this today when I came back home. I took the 76 to go back to Northern and meet up with my dad. And, I'm not upset I did that, because I wasn't going to be on the bus that long. The traffic was moving on Francis Lewis, as a random example. But with the M14, excuse me, you're going to have to deal with a lot of the overcrowded buses. And it's a nightmare. And I really would hope that people are just going to use the other subway lines. I would really hope that. And people are going to have to realize that for the next 15 months until July of 2020, this is your routine now if you want to go into the city on the weekends. So that being all said, now we're going to go to our next story, and this is about the Long Island Railroad. And we'll go to my screen recorder in just a second after I play the video, after I'm done putting it in the editor. And this story is about the situation at the Carl Place train station with neighbors complaining about the work from the third track project.
Noise is overwhelming. This morning, a lot of folks who live in Carl Place are complaining about the constant noise from that third track project at the Long Island Railroad. We've been showing you the work of the Carl Place station since it started weeks ago. Now residents say natural sound barriers, things like shrubbery and trees, have been taken down by the crews. And so they say the noise is even more unbearable. They're demanding the railroad do something soon. So far, we have not heard from the LIRR.
So once again, News 12 with local news desk only spent about 30 seconds talking about this. Unacceptable! And Damien, we just spent 30 seconds talking about how you kind of people in Carl Place have to deal with it. If this happened in Lynbrook, Merrick, or Belmore, we would give them more face time.
The railroad's growing. More and more people are riding it. Have you been on the Southern State Parkway?
Now anybody can park here from wherever, and they're coming from all over the place.
I know people who come from Westbury, East Meadow, Hicksville.
Again, you know what the News 12 is all about. And I'm going to say his name and put his picture on the screen right now. The President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. All they care to. I bet whenever he's on News 12,
I bet he has a way to find out he's on News 12. I bet he tells Melania to watch him in the room. I bet he does. And maybe Mike Pence watches too. Maybe he does. We don't know. Because it's geared toward the white-collar finance professionals. Especially how they have ties with Donald Trump. I'm sure they do. Even before he became president. That's when they went and went to pick down J. Trump. How J. Trump doesn't impact me. My mayor and my governor impact me more than the president do. Ridiculous. I don't want to hear about him. I want to know more about this. Maybe if we go on the News 12 website, let's see if they even talk about on their thing. Oh, Lego Festival. Look at this. Threatening letter forces evacuation government building. Oh, sure. How long did they spend on that story? Let's find out. Put the desktop on mute. Yep. They gave it 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Wow. They are a bunch of hypocrites, News 12 Long Island. They really are. No. Get this. Mr. New Yorkers Love Me signed a bill today with Nassau County Executive Mayor Karen and Suffolk County Executive Steve Malone. Oh, and then get this. Francesco's in Hicksville, they had a fire there last night. How long did they spend on that story? How long did they spend on that? Oh, they only spent about a whole minute on that. Ah. You know what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let you watch this video right now. So we'll play this video, and then I'll give my thoughts on it.
An iconic Long Island bakery destroyed in a massive fire. News 12 Long Island's Eileen LaPalmer is here with more on the fire that gutted that bakery in Hicksville.
Well, if you take a look behind me here, you can see the workers are now boarding up Francesco's Bakery here on South Broadway in Hicksville. The building destroyed after that overnight fire. Now take a look. This is some video of that fire. It started around 11:30 last night. The owner of this bakery says he got a text message and a phone call that the bakery was on fire, and he immediately came here to try to see what could be saved. But at the end, the building inside is destroyed. Also next door, Legends on Broadway also suffered some damage. But the owner tells us today that he has 90 wedding cakes that need to be made this week, as well as other specialty cakes. He's pledging that will be done. And in fact, we went down to his other location. This is video from North Massapequa, where workers are currently working on those orders. They're pledging to get this done because he says he cares about his customers.
We put our heart and soul into everything. And, you know, I like to make people smile and make people happy, you know, and that's what it's all about, baking, you know. Business, yes, we all need to live, but at the end of the day, people smile, children, weddings, whatever happens to be, we are always there for them.
Now, the cause of this fire is still under investigation, but the owner says he believes it may have been electrical in nature. But again, the fire marshal will make that final determination. Meanwhile, it's estimated there's about $4 million in damage here. We are in Hicksville. Eileen LaPalmer, News 12 Long Island.
So as you saw on the video, it's another awful loss for the Hicksville community. It's bad enough the neighborhood north of Old Country Road is being deteriorated as it is, with everything from violence to vandalism to homeless individuals, and that's what I'll call them from now on, because I'm not going to call them the B word, because that YouTube will just demonetize the video, and then they'll probably just say, oh no, you used an inpolitically correct term. Well, I gotta be careful now because Google's watching me. Thank you, T-Series, for making YouTube corporate, which we'll talk about that in another video. But anyhow, my point is, this is a bad example of how a community lost something very important, like this bakery. And I hope the owner's going to be able to consider, because I don't think he will. I don't think he will. You know, with the economics of Hicksville, with everything deteriorating around that area, they're not going to want to rebuild. They're probably just going to keep their Massapequa location. And I'll highlight some stuff, because I know I don't want to read the article in full. But let me see. Right, Eileen LaPalmer did tweet this as well. Let's see. So, the fire did cause $4 million in damage. I would hope the owner has insurance, and I hope that, and this is crazy. It's actually it's his first name. So, Francesco, if you are watching, I hope that people will come together and they will help you rebuild in Hicksville. I know you have customers in Massapequa as well, and I hope the same customers in Hicksville will travel down to Massapequa and go to your shop, because I know, and he mentioned this in the video, that there's a lot of weddings, and that's true. The first weekend of May, a lot of weddings do take place. Traditionally, I know this for a fact, because I actually I have a friend, his mother was in wedding photography, and usually May and June were always booked, and she always had to do something on the weekends. But also keeping in mind, this is a very important weekend for Christians, because in the Orthodox community you have communions on the first weekend of May. So I wonder how many families are now going to be left without cake, because literally for a special occasion like a communion, you need a cake. I mean, there's no question. Anything else in the News 12 website that has interest to me? Oh no, nothing else. Too bad. Oh wait, police search for hit-and-run driver in Bayshore. Driver arrested in Limbrook, fatal hit-and-run. Waukegan man secretly recorded woman in tanning salons. Man performed lewd act in front of 11-year-old at Walmart. Just curious. Which Walmart was this? I hope it's not the one in East Meadow. Oh, thank God. Thank God it's not the one in East Meadow. Thank God. Thank God. Suffolk. Because if this happened in East Meadow, I would be irate. Because remember, I like the East Meadow location. That's sad. But I'm not going to read that one. Not important. Oh yeah, right, I forgot. Suffolk County just launched 311. Congrats to them. Now, if Lower Carew would consider launching 311, that would be fantastic. And by the way, guess what? We had another fire today. We had another fire. And I want to thank Brianna Morello. Apparently, and I found this out from Matt Camper, the Long Island Railroad did send out a notification about this via their email system, and there was a fire about a half-fourth mile away from the Hicksville train station. Now, this did result in 5 to 10 minute delays this morning, but thankfully, and I can confirm that we know the reason why this happened. Fully Involved Media, that's their handle, pretty much said a fire destroyed a well-known event planning company on John Street earlier this morning. Firefighters from multiple departments assisted in bringing the massive blaze under control. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Now, just a little bit curious, has Mr. Camper tweeted since we started recording? Okay, chemical fire, not important. No tsunami warning, that's fake news. Right, this is what I wanted to show you all. So, NJ Burkett, I'm not going to play the video because, it would just, I think it would not be appropriate to do that. Pretty much tonight on the 6 o'clock broadcast, he's going to do a story about the residents in Coral Place having to deal with the work with the third track project. And you got to feel bad for these residents who have to constantly deal with this, and if they're doing this overnight, I really do feel bad that they have to try to sleep through this, because thankfully I don't have to deal with it in Queens, but these people, I really do feel bad for them. I really do. They have to deal with this. Now, very quickly, I want to take a look at the new train station schedules from Long Island Railroad. First up, let's start off with the date of when it will start. The schedules were leaked out to the public on Saturday. I can confirm that. That's what Matt had told me. The schedules will start on Monday, April 20th, and will last until Sunday, July 14th. So without further ado, let's find out if my normal 1121 eastbound train from Limbrook will get impacted. Let's see. That's Saturday, right? Any weekday. Okay, let's see. Trying to look. Okay, thank you, Philip Ang. Thank you very much. So thankfully, I would still be able to make the 1121 train. That's very good, because I rely on that train a lot. Now, let's take a look at the Hempstead schedule. Is the 205 eastbound train to Hempstead affected? So I'm just reviewing it for you all, because I like to do this. Atlantic Terminal, Brooklyn. Yes, 205 eastbound train to Hempstead will not be impacted. I know that train very well. That train takes about 22 minutes to get over to... No, my bad, 32 minutes to get over to Queens Village. And I don't mind that. Because again, that's a city terminal station. So, obviously, for my sake, I like to get the Q88. Now, let's take a look. I'm not going to look at Far Rockaway, because they probably would keep the 135 to Far Rockaway. Now, let's see if my eastbound 211... Yes, the eastbound 211 and the eastbound 256 are not impacted. So that's very good. Thank goodness. Last thing I need is for my regular train to get canceled. For now. But I bet there's going to be changes because, remember, the railroad's doing work in the summer. And I'll go more in depth about that when the time comes. Okay, let's just check the Port Jefferson schedule. Curious to see if the 1110 train came back or they're going to keep it for 1121. I'd like to see if they bought that train back, because it used to be 1110 and they moved it up to 1121. So let's see, New Hyde Park. Okay, good. They moved it to 1110, which I'm very glad they did that, because if you were to take the bus from Long Island Jewish and get the 1032 and 25, you really wouldn't be impacted. So, as long as there's no work on New Hyde Park Road by 2nd Street, that shouldn't be a problem. I'm not going to check Port Washington. Not appropriate. I don't usually take those trains. So I think that's going to wrap up that part of the video. So, lastly, we're going to talk about Bill de Blasio. Because, guess what? The NYPD hid information from us. Now we're going to read this article. And I want to thank Vincent Barone for giving me this information from the Daily News. But, anyhow, on a Saturday morning back in August 2015, Mayor Bill de Blasio was in the back seat of a black NYPD Chevy Tahoe bound for an event in Manhattan, this was in Harlem, while a driver changing lanes slammed into his truck. Nobody was hurt, including the mayor, but the commanding officer of the mayor's executive protection unit, Howard Redman, was irate. Text messages obtained by the New York Daily News show he immediately ordered the incident to be covered up to protect the mayor's image. As per CO, no one is allowed to know this, said Jerry Ibrino. Text members of the unit, not even the other teams. No one is to even know. Text messages obtained by the New York Daily News revealed that Redmond frantically covered up the incident that took place back on August 22nd, 2015. Car crash due to concern about optics. The previous unreported crash offers insight into the powerful commanding officer's critical role covering up embarrassing episodes involving Mayor de Blasio. It also hints at why Redmond remained in his post despite turmoil in the unit. The New York Daily News had previously reported on allegations that Redmond covered up the case on executive protection under lieutenant accused of roughening up a sergeant at Gracie Mansion. Oh boy, this is what I mean. This is another impeachable offense right here. I know, Governor Cuomo won't even look into this. Folks, I'm dead serious. This is an impeachable offense. This was an impeachable offense. I'm sorry. But if I was in his shoes, I would have told the public about it. I would have. I would have had a press conference outside of Gracie Mansion or at City Hall to address this. Because he's Bill de Blasio, and he doesn't care. This is what exactly happens. I'm sorry, Bill de Blasio, but this is again another impeachable offense. Ridiculous. And guess what? No report on the crash is publicly available for the New York State Department of Motor Vehicle Records. Redmond allegedly ordered that the cop behind the wheel, Detective Edgar Holmes, be officially listed as the driver of a backup SUV that the text messages show. That way, the unit could be more plausibly claimed that Mayor de Blasio wasn't in the vehicle involved in the collision. And look at this. The crash was covered up because of the mayor's Vision Zero initiative, which was also taken in part by Patty Trottenberg, the commissioner of the New York City Department of Transportation, which seeks to reduce pedestrian traffic deaths through stricter enforcement, according to multiple sources close to the Executive Protection Unit. The Vision Zero site proclaims the City of New York must not longer regard traffic crashes as mere accidents, but rather as preventable incidents that can be systematically addressed. Ridiculous. State law requires all occupants of vehicles involved in accidents to stay at the scene, but a retired member of the Executive Protection Unit says it wasn't unusual for a very important person under the unit protection to be taken away as long as there was no serious injuries. I can't read anymore. Oh, this is ridiculous. The First Lady was also involved in an accident a week before Mayor de Blasio's accident back on August 12, 2015. It reveals that Charlene de Blasio was a passenger. And I'm sorry, but I'm not calling her by her last name. I just can't. Ridiculous. I can't read any more of this. Again, you want to cover this up. Cover this up. Okay, here we go. And Charlene was in an SUV too. So again, everyone's a hypocrite. De Blasio's like, oh, I want to make this a green city. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, idiot! Ride the subway! Ride the bus! Don't waste our taxpayer dollars getting driven around in a private chauffeur! And another thing, I'm going to rant about this. Why the hell isn't he on the streets? Why isn't he in Midtown trying to get the homeless out of there? Yes, yeah, you want to do that. Again, this makes me boil. And again, I'm going to say this one more time. Once again, this is an impeachable offense. I don't know why the governor just can't impeach him for this. I bet there's more impeachable offenses that he's done as mayor. And another thing, I'm sorry to keep saying that. You don't think he was tied to the same restaurateur that Ed Mangano was linked to? There's proof. They just didn't want to charge him because Bill de Blasio was another part of the Democratic Party. What more can you make up about this guy? Single-handedly, once again, he will go down as the worst mayor in New York City history. And if you don't think he's the worst mayor, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you look at that man's eyes, you could tell. That's an evil smirk right there. That's an evil smirk. That is a real evil smirk of a man who has no regard for his city. There's no regard for the public. He only wants to just do his YouTube streams every day. And again, he does this every day. He goes on YouTube and he live streams every day giving his liberal propaganda. Where instead, he should be on the streets looking what's going on. And again, we had a mayor like that. Rudy Giuliani. He used to do that. He used to go on the streets. He had a limo. I understand why, because it was for his safety. Trust me, if I was the mayor and I wanted to do something like that, you know, I would probably have a car. You know, a small car. Because, you know, I wouldn't want to ruin the ozone layer or what John always says from Pine Power LI, contribute to the greenhouse effect. I've gone on for too long. I'm annoyed at this guy. I had to bring him up because, again, he just makes me go irate every time I talk about him. He has caused me hell. He is ruining Queens every day you see it. Waste 107's finally cleaning up graffiti. And I'll do that later on in the week. And I'll talk about how they're trying to clean it up. So that being all said, thank you all for watching. Until the next one, please take care.